my definition of success is accomplishing my why, which is creating a legacy that outlives me for generations, and the people that I care about, giving them experiences beyond obtaining the basic standards of living. If I accomplish that,
Mhm.
then my definition, then I've truly become successful.
Welcome to Entrepreneurhood, where we break entrepreneurship down into three simple pillars: business, lifestyle, and motivation. Our goal is to use our personal experiences as industry leaders to guide and inspire young entrepreneurs to see the lesson in every challenge. Because we understand that companies don't succeed, people do. Now, welcome the leaders of Entrepreneurhood, Lakim and KB.
Welcome to the neighborhood. You got your boy Lay Kim in the building, and I got my brother KB in the building with me. We on episode 66, and we decided to call this one, "What's your definition of success?" Right? And KB's gonna let y'all know why we decided to choose this topic and what this episode is all about. But before we jump into that, we need to talk about W's and L's, our segment where we really talk about either a win for the week or a lesson for the week. So KB, you got a W, you got an L this week.
Listen, 2024 is my year, man.
I feel that. I feel that.
No, I definitely got another W. Happy about that. I got invited to be one of the panelists for Spice, for those who know, the dancehall queen, to be on a panelist for her private dinner event. And it's powerful because I get to speak about, what we talk about all the time is financial literacy and in my particular lane of business funding. So to be able to get invited by her, she's had a great following, 4 million followers on social media, but she's been in the game for 20 years. So if you're from Jamaica, you know who Spice is for sure.
Yeah, yep, yeah.
So she's actually a dope person too, like very graceful, even though her name is Grace, but she's very like kind, very have manners. Usually people from, the industry for that long, they don't really look at people no more.
Oh, I thought you was about to say normally people from Jamaica, they don't have manners. I was about to say, yo, time out.
I mean, that too, when you try to get some food, you know how they go. But nah, she's actually a nice person, so I'm excited to work with her. So I have an event next week.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask, I might as well just still should ask, like, how did that connection come about? Because for people who's watching, it's like, how the heck KB get connected to Spice? Like, what?
Yeah, I think a lot of people thinking about that. And it's really from just genuine relationships and being consistent with my content, honestly, because someone from training that was following me for a little while, and she referred me, and another person referred me, that actually had a conversation when I was at my old gym. And it just came to the top of mind, and they wanted to have, I guess, a male perspective on the panel, and somebody that, is qualified in their field, and they both referred me. And
Wow.
so it was dope, it was definitely dope, and I'm thankful for opening that door, because now, I'm gonna take advantage of the opportunity and provide as much value as possible.
Yeah, bro. I feel like there's going to be a lot of good relationships built, a lot of new connections made. And it's all from, the previous seeds that you've planted. And that's the beauty in business, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, and the room is full of my target audience. So being that I'm targeting beauty professionals in the funding space, all the women there pretty much are beauty professionals for the most part. So yeah, it should be some good leads in the building.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I feel like, yeah, next week is going to be beautiful. And it's funny. What day is that event? The 28th?
Yeah, 28th.
Yeah, so this isn't a win, but like I'm doing an event that same day too. So that's gonna be on Sunday. So that's dope that you're gonna be speaking at an event on the 28th. I'm gonna be speaking at an event on the 28th in Harrisburg, PA. So it's like we dividing and conquering, bro.
Yeah, outside.
Back. So let me share the W or the L that I have. And for me, I definitely got another W, right? And I've just been feeling good, man. Prior to us hitting the record button, I was sharing with you like, yo, I'm excited. Like I have a new level of excitement. And what I love about our podcast is that we're able to document this, right? And I love that I'm gonna be documenting this excitement in this moment because I want to see how this excitement unfolds, right? So my W for the week is that I started really diving deep into my software, my new proprietary software that I'm going to be using to like really build the foundation around my coaching business and my new offer. And what was cool was, you were the first person that went through the role play with me. And that was a really cool experience because not only am I learning the software and perfecting it, but for you to give me the experience to role play with you and to give me feedback and to tell me your perspective, that felt like a big W because it's like we were both kind of learning.
Yeah.
And what I'm excited about is that since you are the very first person I ever role play into my new proprietary software, I'm excited to, after I get more clients and role play sessions under my belt, for us to be able to role play again and for you to see the improvement because, you know, it's kind of like when you're training somebody, the way you train your very first client,
Yeah, it's facts.
compared to how you were training your last few clients or in your prime of training or towards the end, like the first few clients were, your guinea pigs. Those were the people that you were figuring it out with, and then the
Yeah,
other people,
it's practice.
exactly, they got the best of it.
So
So
can you let people know what's the proprietary software? Like, what is that? What is that for? What is it gonna help people do?
yeah, so this software is a game changer. So what this software is actually going to do is it allows me to unlock revenue and profit potentials in any business. So it could be from any industry, and my goal is to always uncover anywhere from 50 to $100,000 in unlocked revenue and profit within 45 minutes or less. And then walk the business owner through different strategies. So I've kind of perfected 12 tested strategies that's going to help these entrepreneurs first unlock the revenue, the hidden revenue that's in there. And then the second thing is how to implement it. So we take that from just a number on the screen to a number in their bank account.
So you're just gonna be a magician and finding this money for people.
Man, that's why it's proprietary, bro. Proprietary software, new year, new me, man.
No, that sounds very intriguing. I'm excited to see where you take it because literally from the call I learned a lot about my business and what's needed and what I have already and how to capitalize. So I know the people going to find the value in that once you bring it to the forefront.
Yeah, so the rollout, is going to be happening, roughly the first week of February. I think around that time, that's when I'm going to be accepting clients. So I'm just excited. It's something that I've been taking, December and January to perfect. And once that software is, I'm fully trained up on it, is going to be go time. So yeah, man, 2024 is gonna be amazing. So let's jump into like this episode, bro. So like why did we decide to choose, what is your definition of success?
Because in order to be successful, you literally have to define it yourself. Because it could come in many forms, many ways. You could be, a millionaire that doesn't own a home but lives in a luxury apartment. Or you could be a person that's, grossing, 500,000, but actually netting, 75% of that or 20% of that. You got to figure out what do you really want it to be? Because at the end of the day, the bottom line number is what matters the most. And you got to figure out what you want your bottom line to be. And I think some people look at success, as having just family around. They don't really care about money. Some people look at success as having just a healthy body. And, some people look at success as having the most amount of money, don't care how they look. So it gets very interesting because your values plays a role. And when your values plays a role, you have a certain standard for your life. So ideally, a lot of people don't think about what does it mean to them. They just think about the money they want to acquire. But it's how do you want to acquire that money? What's the risk that it takes to get that, and how long is it going to take?
And what's the sacrifice?
Yeah.
There's so many elements that go into that, KB. And thinking about it, is some people they value their time, some people they value money, some people they value the family, some people they value their friendships. And it's in the be success is in the eye of the beholder, right? And Like, I think we should take some polarizing perspectives and see, like, yo, is that something you view as success? Or is that something you would sacrifice to obtain success? You know?
Yeah. And it goes back to those questions like, would you rather, 100 million and no family for the next 3 years?
Right.
Like I saw something like that today on Instagram. And the girl, she answered the way she wanted to answer. She was like, bye, ma. Like
Wait, what was the situation? Would you rather $100 million?
yeah, I don't even think it was 100 million. I think it was 1 billion, to be honest.
Okay.
1 billion or don't see your family for the next 3 years.
Wow.
But it was an easy decision for her because she's like, I'm on a mission.
1 billion and not see your family for 3 years. I think I would take the money too. Hold on. I had to just weigh out my options. So 3 years, that's bro. I see the thing is I plan to live a long life, right? So a 3 year sacrifice, I view business um
This is good.
as a trade-off, bro. It's a trade-off. It's not something that I plan to do. I plan to do it forever, but like at different levels, it's just like there's going to be certain stages that I plan to spend more time growing my business than I spend with my family. There's going to be times that I spend more time with my family than I do on my business. So if you mean to tell me that I could sacrifice 3 years to get a billy, I'm taking the billion because it's like,
Okay.
yeah,
Tiana, do you hear that?
you're gonna be happy at the end of the 3 years. It's like if it was like 5 or 10, I would be a little bit hesitant. But bro, time is gonna pass regardless.
Yeah, but just imagine what happened in the last 3 years.
True.
So, it's
And
not like you got new creation, you got people that's, a fortune that might pass within the time frame. There's so many things that we get from family that's not monetary.
all right, so hear me out on this. The reason why I think that for me is a no-brainer sacrifice, because I feel like I've already done that. Like if you look at the journey from how I started my business and how things evolved, I feel like I did that. To be honest, I felt like I sacrificed probably closer to 5 years. And now I don't think I would do that again, right? Because going from New York to Philly, going from Philly to Indiana, that whole time of being in Indiana, I felt like I was separated from my family and my friends, right? And when I came back, I feel like I missed things? Absolutely. Did I feel like I was kind of out the loop for a little bit? Absolutely. But it didn't take me much longer to get back in the loop.
Yeah,
And and at the same time, I also feel like the stage that I was in, that was my grind stage.
I get that, but there's technicalities to it. You did
Okay.
that. You did that with, your wife by your side the whole time.
That's very true.
And no, not seeing them is like no communication.
Okay. So no, hold on. So it's different of like saying being in jail. Right.
That see, perspective is everything because it's
It's
literally
like
the
it's
same
like
thing.
it's like just not speaking to them, right? But like I could still have pictures of them. I could still watch videos of them, and I'm still going to be interacting with people, right?
Yeah, but just no family, no friends, no contact.
Give me the Billy. Give me the billion.
See, this is why you have to find what's success to you.
And I mean, y'all got to tell me too. Like, what would
Yeah.
what would y'all say? Think about it. 3 years, no contact with family for $1 billion, and then you take care of everybody for the rest of their lives. Like, yes, there's some trade-offs that will come with that, but I mean, isn't life a risk? So that's the way I look at that situation.
Yeah, that's tough, bro. It's very tough. The reason it's tough for me because I know how impactful the conversations are, how valuable they are to me. Um, that's like us, like literally not doing a podcast for 3 years.
Ooh, that's tough.
So
Oh,
it's a lot of perspective because we all need people, and the people that's close to us that holds the most value is the one that we really cherish about the most. We're not talking about the distance cousin that we see at on the holidays once a year, like.
facts.
But you used to go to sleep with your wife every night, so for 3 years not to go to sleep next to her is going to be very different.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know. Yeah, 3 months will be crazy, but 3 years is like she might move on, bro.
dang. Yeah, I ain't think about that because it's not even about like the impact it has on me, is the impact it's going to have on the other people as well.
Yeah.
So that's
But
definitely something to think about.
and I think that's the part where, especially when it comes down to your business, you want to think about what is you risking? What's the trade-off? And what's the sacrifice that's made it? Because some people could look at it, on my business, I grossed over 1 million, but they didn't take a break in 2 years. And with that break, the trade-off is cost of relationships. Of course, it might be their health. And it might not just be their physical, it might be their mental health, where they feel they can't even sit down for a second without feeling like, I feel lazy. I feel like I got to do more. To a point where your mind is just running and you're not even in the present moment anymore.
Yeah.
And you kind of, that for me, that's like you miss out on life itself. So, perspective is everything of figuring out what's the success with you. And then the other factor is some people like, I got my family, I got my friends, I'm good, but they struggling.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, as long as I got a roof over my head, which is good, something to be thankful for, as long as I have food. But, if your roof is leaking and the food you eating is bad quality food, that's not going to be a long life either.
Right.
So it's like it's a lot of different extremes. I'm giving examples, but at the same time, we just have to really define how do we want to run our business? How do we want to make our money? And I think for me, like I just did it. I took a turn where I stopped. I retired from training, and I wanted to do something differently. And it was about fulfillment because I was doing well, like very well, more than other trainers that I
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
It was just a fulfillment move and purpose move, and I just pivoted. And then now, I found my market. It took some challenges, but
Yep.
I found my target market and my audience who I'm supposed to reach, which is the beauty professionals. And I'm excited again. Like I feel like I have a new breath of fresh air.
Hmm.
So, it really depends on your bottom line.
Yeah, and I think that's the reality of it, right? Because I think a lot of people, let's kind of change the angle a little bit and talk about business, right? A lot of people they they aspire to grow a business, and when you ask people what kind of business they want to grow, I think most people are like, I want to get $1 million business.
Facts.
That's the I think the bottom line, or not the bottom line. That's the trendy thing to say. That's the
7-figure business.
yeah, the trophy that people are working towards, right? But people don't understand that if you get to $1 million business, right? But it costs you 950, you have to spend $950,000 to get there. Is that really $1 million business? Because you got there, I mean, you have the gross, you have the the privilege of saying that, yo, I got $1 million business, but you spent almost every single dollar you have to get there. Is that worth it? Because if you look at companies like maybe Amazon and Walmart and stuff like that, you know, they gross a lot of money and they sell products at a loss, right? But they also have other things to compensate and overcompensate for that stuff. But I'm just, there's just a lot of different angles. And then if you just talk a regular business owner that hits that 7-figure mark, but spend every penny to get there, is that something that's successful?
Yeah, and you gotta have strategy with that too, because even with Amazon, they was never profitable. until it was time. And he basically used the revenue for the business and borrow against it
Mm.
and used that as leverage and paid himself in debt, not in profits, so he could avoid taxes.
Wow.
So, that's some high level chess shit right there. So if you ain't doing that, you got to figure out what's going to be your way of doing it. And
Yep.
I think that was that when I read about that, I'm like, damn, that actually makes sense because you don't have to pay taxes on debt.
Yeah.
So that's how he paid himself because like, yo, we're making money, and throwing everything back into the company. So you got, go avoid taxes. But it's true, bro. Like you literally have to figure out what's really comes with it and what's the cost. And that helps you make a legitimate decision about how you want to go about it. If you don't know, then they will definitely need to book a call with you
Yep.
at this point. Shameless plug, but it's true though, like because I think even with training I had to realize, yeah, I don't want to be a 5 a.m. trainer to 8 at night and do some classes in between. I got to figure this out. I want to make my money back to back and I'm out.
Yep.
So literally I had to sit and think and realize, yeah, I don't like getting up mad early in the morning. And I don't like having, different gaps in my schedule. So let me change the way I set myself up. And I did more group training than one-on-one.
Mm.
And once I really figured that out, I'm like, I bet I'm training at 10 and 11, and I'm training at 7 and 8. Those are my slots. If you can't make it, then I'm not the trainer for you. Then before I had the app, and then once they started doing virtual, then I was my other option. But I had to define that, like for myself. And I think that's one of the hardest things for entrepreneurs to do because they're like, well, these people need this and they doing this and this person did this and it worked. Nah, it's about you at this point because you'll never feel truly fulfilled trying to fulfill somebody else's shoes.
Mm.
And that's something I realized and it worked. And most trainers like, yeah, that's not gonna work, bro. Like clients not going for that. Who's gonna train you at 10, 11 o'clock? They gotta go to work. No, not the clients I'm going after.
Yeah.
So I had nurses, I had teachers in the evening, and I had entrepreneur women. And entrepreneurs, when it comes in, that was in the beauty industry, because that's what I was training, they didn't have clients until later, or they train in the beginning of the week because towards the end of the week, they're more busy. And it worked. So it's like I could have followed everybody else mojo and been upset. Could have made some money, but I would have been upset about it because I'm like, I don't have my time to myself or the time that I wanted, my schedule, how I wanted to design it. So I had to find what was going to be successful to me. So me training less than 15 hours a week and making multi six figures, that was success.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what it was for me. It's like, oh nah, this is how it's supposed to be.
So why do you think a lot of people they don't take the time to just define success for themselves?
Because it requires you to think. Most
Mhm.
people they don't want to think, they want somebody to tell them what to do. And I think that's the part where that's missing because in order for you to do that, you have to be vulnerable in that space with yourself and really figure out what do I really want. But most of the time we train, in school, they tell you what to do. Teacher tell you when to go to the bathroom, tell you when to raise your hand, tell you when to speak, tell you what to wear. You got to wear a uniform. So when you go to your job, the same thing. This is when you could go take what is it called? PTO? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
He
when
he don't even know the term. He was like, it's unfamiliar territory to KB. Continue, continue.
So this is when you come in, this is when you leave. This is the work I'm going to give you. So we're always told, our parents always tell us to do. Nobody's really like, damn, let me actually think about what I want to do.
And I think a big part of that too is they don't take the time, right? And then the other thing is they're just when they're in motion. Sometimes when I think a big reason of why people they don't, define success is because they're like, I'm already just moving. I'm moving, I'm doing stuff. I can't slow down. Right? That's what they tell themselves. And to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, there were times that I felt like I wanted more and I could be doing more. But I'm like, bro, I already got a lot of stuff on my plate. Like when I was running my sales company, I'm like, I just got to keep going. I got to keep going. But I was like, bro, I know that I could be doing more and I could be having a bigger impact. Right. And I think as bad as this may sound, I think that's why the world kind of needed COVID to happen, right? Because I think when COVID happened, yeah, we lost a lot of people that were close to us, and there was a lot of fear going on in society. But one of the blessings that happened in COVID was it gave so many people time to think. Like if we take a second, or we just look back on all of the businesses that were started, it's crazy how were so many businesses started during the pandemic. If you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs right now, you ask them, when did you start your business? What are they going to say?
2020.
Yeah, right. That's what they all say. I started back in 2020. I'm like, what were you doing before that? It was like, yo, I was trapped.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. So, like, well, what are your thoughts on that?
I think the part that we are missing when it comes to success is the decreasing
Mm-hmm.
and the decreasing, the stopping, the pausing, because literally it's needed for growth is that you're gonna have to have some pullback to make some adjustments, like we spoke about in the last episode, in order to propel to go forward. And if you look at any chart of somebody that's successful, or even just look at the stock market, there are a lot of decreases, and COVID was one of the biggest ones.
Yep.
But if you look at it now, you can see it propel forward. And I think when it comes down to us in our business, it's important to have that slow month. It's important to have that slow quarter or that slow year, so you know how to pivot and you can propel 10 leaps forward. And I think that's a part that's everybody thinks is always gonna be an up and up, always up. Everything's gonna be lit. I'm up it. And it's like, nah, you're not really you're gonna hit a curve. And that's evolution, is that you're gonna hit a curve, and then within that curve, you should learn how to project yourself to be even better for the next run.
Facts.
And I feel, we both in that space of this new run, but 2023, there was a lot of pauses, a lot of decrease.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game. If you want to be in this game of entrepreneurship, that's what it's about, because you want to keep propelling going forward. And when you in a different type of segment where more on a salary based thing, is about, I just want to be here long enough. Like they're
Very true, bro. I hear a lot of people say that. They were like, look, I just got to be present at work. I just got to show up. And you and me, we don't have that luxury, bro. Like we show up and we don't have a strategy. We don't have a plan. We not getting paid.
Yeah, because most of them are like, yo, I got 7 more years, and then I could, tap into I could retire, get my pension, and I just need to do 25 more years. And it's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
but that's what's successful to them. So I can't knock them, but I just know that wasn't help me define success. Knowing that I'm doing something that's okay. I just deal with it, and I could just do this for the next 25 years of my life.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people they don't understand with entrepreneurship. Because again, if you're looking to get into entrepreneurship just to make a quick dollar, it's probably one of the worst things you could do, right? Like getting into entrepreneurship to try to make a quick buck, because there's really no passion in there. You're not playing the long game. Like me and you, we understand that entrepreneurship is going to be a part of our identity when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And when we played a game like that, right, we understand that once something is a part of your identity, or you're working like it's going to be a part of your identity, you understand that there's going to be setbacks. You understand that there's going to be judgment, there's going to be embarrassment, there's going to be just so many combination of emotions that you just like, I have to be comfortable with accepting these emotions, and if you're not, I wouldn't recommend entrepreneurship, because I just think it will make you feel less than at certain moments, and then it'll make you also feel like you're unstoppable at certain moments. But if you can't ride that wave, it's going to be something that's, I don't know, it's not built. Everyone isn't built for it.
And bro, I feel like it would be unfair for us to have this episode and not give our own definition perspective. So what would
Yeah.
you say is success to you? How do you define that?
So, Bill, that's a great question. So, my definition of success, I'm gonna look into this camera and kind of share my perspective. So, my definition of success is legacy, right? I think success is if I accomplish my why. That's what success is to me. And what is my why? My why is to create an abundance of success, so that way my friends, my family, my uh, people that I coach, and my wife, not in that particular order, because it would be my wife, my family, my friends, and the people that I coach. I could help them experience life beyond working and paying bills. And I want my impact to be carried on for generations after I die. So, kind of like, one of the previous episodes, Porsche, she said that, a lot of the times we say the trendy word of like, yo, I want to obtain generational wealth, right? And she was like, yo, generational wealth means wealth within your generation, right? So we should be aiming for intergenerational wealth, which is generations after us. So for me, I know that my definition of success is accomplishing my why, which is creating a legacy that outlives me for generations, and the people that I care about, giving them experiences beyond obtaining the basic standards of living. If I accomplish that,
Mhm.
in my definition, then I've truly become successful. And one thing I also want to share is my wife was saying, like, this is completely random, right? But Tiana was saying that, like, yo, you should, want to donate and donate, blood or donate your organs
Yeah.
because you can save lives like that. And I was like, no. And she was like, yo, and she was like, that's selfish. Right. And hear me out on it though. I was like, I don't know, bro. Like for me, I don't want to donate my organs. I don't want to do none of that. And she's like, that's selfish. You can't take it with you. Right. But my thought process and the way I said it was like, that's not how I want to impact. That's not the way that I want to change lives. Like, I don't want to do it that way. She's like, so what? You want to speak to people and change lives? I was like, look, I know the way that I know what my definition of success is, right? Her definition of success is she wants to help people in the medical field and save lives that way. I'm going to save a lot of lives. I'm saying this now. I'm going to save a lot of lives from my sacrifice, my impact that I have in business, because I'm going to save impact and impact generations. And that's the way that I define success. I don't want to do it any other way.
They don't want your words, they want your blood, bro.
Ah,
They need your blood to stay alive.
go get KB blood. If you want blood, go to KB. He's giving it all away.
And it's I'm gonna answer the question too, but it's funny because I do have a blood type O. So
Me too, bro. Me too. Yo, and I did, oh my, it's so crazy you said that. I think I'm O negative. And she said that that's the most common blood. So when you're O blood, you could donate to any blood type.
yeah, that's very selfish, but we're gonna pray for you.
I didn't know you had the same blood type. That's crazy. I literally just found my blood type like last week.
Yeah, I donated blood a few times, but yeah, I want to be a contributor to the world. But success to me is me fulfilling my purpose, and me fulfilling my purpose and using my gift to my full potential. And to answer that, I feel like my gift is to be able to, to think differently and to help people and to strategize and to think, challenge the norm. I believe my purpose is to carry out and contribute to leaders and let them know how to lead, and knowing that leading for as males is not just monetary, just providing. So within that space, I want to be able to help families by, leading the men, because a lot of families is that when broken homes because the men is not present, even they're not present physically or they're not present emotionally. So I figure if I help target the men and the leadership, then I can help the household. So when it comes down to it, I want to have a successful life, and that, I mean, successful life, but a healthy life, along with my significant other. and I want to procreate and create little minions that can, you know, carry out their missions. And my thing is, you know, I want to have way more than enough money that, you know, where it's not even an issue. Because where we come from, money is always an issue. It's like, nah, if money is my only problem, then we don't really have them. And that's the that's the type of lifestyle I want to live, where it's like, nah, it's not money. It's about us expressing our emotion, us being closer to God spiritually, us being actually healthy within our lives. So, you know, come from a family with different blood pressure, diabetes, you know, cancer. We're trying to attack all those different intergenerational curses
Yep.
and trying to, you know, just change the narrative about you can get more. And also realizing too, that family is the relationships is value. So for example, I can be the greatest CEO, but how does my wife think about me? How does my kids think about me? How does my brother sister think about me? That's what I care about. So being successful is being the man I was designed to be and actually carrying that out.
Yeah, and that's bro, that's powerful, right? Like I feel like you hit a lot of things that maybe I was thinking and I didn't articulate as well. But you know, you said, you know, you one of your purposes is to impact, you know, the men and help them be better role models. So that's so interesting because then if that's the case, why don't you serve them in business? Like why are they not your target? And then why is like, you know, normally females your target? Because
Yeah, that's very interesting, right?
yeah, it kind of contradicts a little bit. So that's could you, you know, enlighten us about that?
I feel like that's my next chapter, literally, like hosting like more leadership for men. But I think by me helping the women aspect, that always gets the men. That always get the men to ask questions.
Wow.
And it literally, especially with training all these different women, like, how do you do it? And that usually is the open doors, usually the lead magnet for them to ask me more questions. And then once we get down deeper, it's like, yeah, I really respect you, bro. Like you really, I see why you do this. You know, I see why you do this. And from there, it's a respect level of knowing like, oh, he just don't want to be around women. He actually is the perfect person for it. So they'll send me their sister, you know, their girl, their daughter, whatever, to work with me because I'm professional. And it makes them like, yo, I want to be a respectable man like you.
Yep.
So they see the success of what I'm doing, they see the results of what I'm doing. But now they like, yeah, I want to learn a little bit more. How do you actually go about that? So I feel like these chapters of my life is the setup for that. And I don't see myself being like a therapist or a counselor. I just see myself just creating a environment where men can be in a safe space and they could be vulnerable and also they can learn about business as well. And then they also can learn about spirituality. So I definitely do see that in the long run for sure.
Ah, all right. And I like how you brought it all together because, you know, as you were speaking, I'm like, but you're targeting different people, but I see how it's also it's gonna come full circle. And again, that's the key, bro. Like that's what separates you. That's what makes what we share so powerful is because when you are playing, you know, chess, you're thinking 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 moves ahead. And most people, again, to some people, success is just, you know, making it to see another day. Some people's success is just getting a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
And everybody wants to have their own impact. Some people don't really want to have an impact, you know, but they probably have their own way of how they want to do that. So it's just it's a very interesting thing because I feel like if we had other people that could like interact with us live right now and we just asked that particular question, we would hear so many different answers.
Yeah. Or crickets.
Right.
Because people never thought of. And I think the other part too, realizing everybody's not here to be a leader. You know, there's a thing called, you know, visionaries and supporters. Both are needed. So for us to carry out these visions, if we don't have supporters, it's not going to get done with just
Mm,
us because you have your mission for your people, I'm a mission for our people, and we both going to be like, well, I got to work on my own thing, and you got to work on your own thing. So
yeah.
that's why supporters are needed, and that's why, you know, everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. Like this is not something you should sign up for.
Right.
This is something that you pushed into. Like you don't sign up for this. But essentially we all have our certain roles. Nobody is better than the other, because sometimes entrepreneurs need to learn how to be noble in a way where they can actually function and not just act like a machine.
Right.
So we all have play a certain part, but you got to figure out what's your part. Like what's your lane, where you supposed to be at. And when you figure that out, you just constantly just keep chasing that every day. That's what makes you feel like you're living. But if you just, just here, just showing up, just saying present and not being no role in the class, it's gonna be a long school year for you.
Right. Yeah.
But
And I
some
think,
people,
bro, that like what you just said is so like, yo, I've never heard no one worded like that, like either being a supporter or a visionary, right? And I think it's so okay to pick a side, because I think a big um like flip side to it is some people be like, I don't know. I don't know what role that best suits me. Or they're trying to be something that they're not, like
yeah.
supporters trying to be visionaries and visionaries trying to be supporters. Like that also is a bad mix.
Yeah, it gets tough because there's some people who's supposed to step up to the leadership role, but they don't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
And then there's some people who want to be leaders, but they don't even know what to do. And in order to be a great leader, you also have to be a great supporter too.
Yeah.
But some people who's trying to take lead and they're looking at leadership as a position, they're not looking at it as an influence. So Simon Sinek, I study a lot of leadership, and one of his books is called Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah.
And he said leaders, they don't take charge, they take care of those ones in charge.
Hmm.
So it's like you saying, LeBron, for example, because people know about his leadership.
He's the greatest, but
we're
continue.
gonna talk about not gonna talk about anything else. But if they win, he gets the praise. But if they lose, regardless, he's gonna get the blame.
Yeah.
So heavy is the head wears the crown. A lot of people see that and like, you know what? Nah, I'm not signing up for that because it's too much responsibility. Why do I gotta think about everybody else? And that's between great leadership and just good leadership. Is like you go the extra mile to make sure that everybody gets it. And if they don't get it, we're gonna figure out a way. That's when like no man left behind. Mentality.
Yeah.
So it's identity is the hardest thing for humans to realize, because we have so many programs pushed at us, media, school, parents, old traditions. You don't really figure out who you are until you maybe 26, 25 to be
And
like,
to be honest, and that's you being modest, bro, because I feel like there's 40-year-olds that still don't know who they are, like they're still finding their path. So,
wait, do you think they know, but they didn't just answer the call
nah, I feel
at
like,
40?
yeah, I feel like they're 40-year-olds that are still figuring it out where like they just don't know what's for them and what's not.
That's tough.
That's what I'm saying. Like, luckily I feel like we've been blessed that we have been able to identify that. And I mean, you said like just we were pushed into leadership roles before we even knew we were going to be leaders. But we were building the skill sets that when we were given the position, the title, it felt natural. You and me, whenever we've been in leadership roles, it's never felt forced, and I think that's something that I don't believe you and I we take for granted or we're unaware of. So it's just important for people to understand, like, just know your role, figure out your role, ask as many people as you can how they view you, and just bounce ideas off of people, because I feel like that's what could help you find, your purpose. And as you find your purpose, then you can define what success is. And as we're wrapping up, bro, I think we should share with the community, a few final thoughts, final takeaway of, what's your definition, and why is it important to figure out your definition of success?
Mm. I would say take the time out, like literally take the time out, go for a walk or spend time with yourself and just quiet and just really sit there and think about your life. And I use this method. I forgot, I heard it from somewhere, but if you ask yourself, why 5 times in a row is going to help you get to the root of where you at or
That
why.
could be, that could be hard though, bro, because it's like, it's kind of like when a kid asks that, you tell a kid and you give them an answer, then they say why. Then you tell them another answer, then they say why. That's going to be tough.
And that's where we need to be at.
Right.
And I think that was just going to expand your mind to realize, make you more inquisitive and question if this is something that I want, or this is something that culture told me I'm supposed to want, or this is something that my religion told me I'm supposed to want. So it's like, you got to identify where these things are coming from to really see what success. Because some people believe, I not even believe, I've witnessed numerous times, you yourself, I just got to get my degree from my parents because that's going to make them happy. Knowing you hate accounting,
Right.
you hate nursing, but you was like, yo, I got to put this on, the china cabinet so they could, tell their friends when they come over. So it's like, that's not successful to you. So you could do that for them. You can waste your time and money. That's on you. But that's not going to make you fulfilled because that's not what you truly want. That's what they want because they couldn't receive at a certain time. So most parents say, go to school because I couldn't go to school and I fought so hard. Cool. Now that you are at your age, what is something that they couldn't give you could go after? And that's how I look at it. I'm like, you know what? My mother couldn't give me this financial freedom. This one I'm going to go after.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I just had to figure out what was for me. But in order to do that, I had to really question a lot of things that was up in my upbringing. And me being young, I'm always questioning everything. But if my mother couldn't give me the answer, I had to pray about it. I had to figure out on my own, but I had to identify and get real vulnerable with yourself. So now when you be able to go after the dream that you want to have, it's going to sound foreign to everybody else, but this is what you want. So, my mother still be bugging like, how you working just from home? And I'm like, she be getting confused, like trying to, just because I'm here, she think that I'm not working.
Yep.
But that's what she associate with being home. But it's like, this is a new standard. Like, mom, I'm home printing. Like, I'm really, I'm out here, but I'm just doing it in my pajamas and my robe. So it's just a new norm. And it's like, that's because this is why I identify what I wanted to be successful. So I feel successful now, but I still want to reach another level. So after you conquer one success, you're just going to keep going. And that's the infinite game of life.
Yeah. And I think that was a very powerful recap because I think, my final thoughts, my final take with as people are trying to figure out what their definition of success is like really just take some time and look through, some of the events that's happened to you in your life and try to like just gain clarity on what's important to you. How you view success is based on what's important, what you value. And you got to be clear on your values, right? Because to play devil advocate of like what KB said, he said, you get your degree because your parents told you to do it. But what if, one thing that you value is making your parents proud? Maybe that is your version of success. Your version of success is I want to make my parents proud before they die. If that's what you value as success, then you're already successful as you continue to make your parents proud, right? Now, we could also play devil advocate if there's a lot of ways you can make them proud. You can make them proud by challenging the status quo and going a different lane and becoming massively successful in the area that they didn't think was possible. They'll still be proud. You just shocked them in how you made them proud. They didn't expect that. So you got to figure out your values, right? And as you figure out your values of what's important to you and how you want to be remembered and the people that you want to impact, once you gain clarity on your values, then you'll be able to find your purpose. And once you find your purpose, you spend the rest of your life to fulfill that, right? And I think that's what I want to leave everybody with. I want to leave them with like, know your values. As you know your values, you'll be able to find your definition of success.
Entrepreneurhood.
Let's get it.
Anyone can start, but only champions finish. Now that you've completed this episode, you're ready to continue your journey by connecting directly with our hosts of Entrepreneurhood. Follow us on Instagram at The Entrepreneurhood to stay updated with the community. For each episode, the first set of listeners to tag us on Instagram and leave a 5-star review will be entered into a drawing to get a free one-on-one coaching session on the topic of entrepreneurship with our hosts. Remember, there is no shame in struggling because we fail, we grow, and we win. Right here on Entrepreneurhood.